Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live. My name is Laken, and I go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to answer any questions you have about goals, planning, life, whatever is on your mind that you need some extra support on, as well as this is our time to just hang out and chat. Some of my favorite time each week that we just get to hang out. So let's kick it off with our first question that we always start with, which is, what are you drinking? So if you are here live, let us know down in the chat what you're drinking while we're hanging out today. And if you're part of the replay fam, I want you to comment down below with what you're drinking while you're watching the replay or what you're doing. I know a lot of you tend to multitask while you watch the replay. I have a cup of coffee here. I have a couple evening time, like 7 p.m. my time, coaching calls tonight. So I decided to go with a second cup of coffee today. I'm also still super tired. I didn't sleep well. Like being back in your own bed, but also it's like, I don't know. I didn't sleep well last night. We also didn't get home from the airport till after midnight. So, hello, Diet Dr. Pepper, water, Earl Grey, yum, iced coffee. I know I wish this was iced coffee, Amy, but we haven't, by we, I mean, I haven't made it to the grocery store yet. So no iced coffee here unless I bought it, but I bought coffee in Houston. So I was like, I can't justify buying more coffee today, but I'm going to go to Trader Joe's after this live is over and get my iced coffee back in my hands, a green tea and honey. Melissa, thank you also for being my guinea pig. If your YouTube or Facebook name is not the name that you prefer to go by, I would love for you to include your name in the comment. That way I know what your name is that you prefer. So thank you for doing that, Melissa. Water, coffee with pumpkin spice creamer. Jessica, that sounds great. Lunch break from work, drinking a black raspberry sparkling ice. Yum. Water. First time live. Morgan, I'm so glad that you're able to join us live for the first time. Welcome. That is so fun. Water, brewing another cup of coffee. Mackenzie, I feel that. All right, let's jump into any questions. Amy, I know I already see you have a question there. Any questions that you have that you want to ask about goals, about planning, about something I've talked about before that you want me to elaborate? It can be a specific question about you and your goals. Do not worry about if anybody else is going to have that question. Happy to help you with anything specific that you're struggling with. Also, the time change has messed with our lighting, and now I have this weird line down the middle of my face. It is what it is. Last thing is that if you have something you want to chat about, but you don't know how to phrase it into a question, and you just want to put topic, blah, 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 whatever it is, we can talk about that. I'm going to start with Amy's question here. Any things you're looking forward to doing during your last Christmas in New York? So honestly, for me, Christmas in New York is more about just like the feeling and like all the things that are, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. Like all the like Christmas trees being set up in all of the different hotels and restaurants and bars, and like just like walking around the city and just seeing lights and it feeling kind of extra magical. There are not very many Christmas specific things that I like to do in New York. And if there are, like, Christmas in New York isn't going anywhere. Like it will still be here even if I don't live here. So there's nothing specific I can think of. Minus just to like really pay attention to all of those like kind of extra magical touches, pay attention to the decor, the trees in the restaurants and the hotels, and just like kind of those things. My family is also coming for Thanksgiving, so I'm sure we will do some extra Christmas stuff the week of Thanksgiving. And for those of you who don't know, when she's referring to the fact that it's my last Christmas in New York, is that we are moving to Chicago. Actually, you can see it on the countdown board right there. That date, that countdown number is so arbitrary. I picked like a random day. It's not like there's not an official move date yet, but our lease is up here March 1st. So sometime before March 1st, we will leave. Mary, did Charlie handle your previous move okay? Yeah, Charlie is a stinking trooper, y'all. I mean, even we took her to Chicago for 2 months during the pandemic. We went and lived with my mom for November and December of 2020 and took her, and she was totally fine. And then she's moved twice in the city. Like the apartment I took her home to was my first apartment in the city. And then we moved all of 3 blocks, but when you're a cat, like you don't know the difference, right? So we moved to apartment number 2. And then when we moved to this place, like, no, she is totally fine. So I'm not super concerned about her. In fact, I was telling her, as one talks to their pets yesterday, that in fact, I think, we have people that come check on her. We have friends that have, sets of our keys. And if they're gone, we have a cat sitter that we pay to come check on Charlie. When we live in Chicago, all of my siblings are cat people, and my mom, and like everybody, like I probably could convince one of my siblings to come stay at our apartment with her every time we travel. And so I was telling her that when we move, it will be much nicer, that she will have a lot more attention when we're out of town than now. So, obviously she has no idea what's coming in terms of the move, but it'll be good. I'm not concerned about her at all. She was also super fantastic in the car. Like, we've done the drive from New York to Chicago with her, and she is completely fine. So, we're gonna do it again. Like, it's gonna be totally fine. I'm that part of it. Moving or the rest of our stuff, totally concerned. Moving Charlie, not even at all concerned about her. So she'll be good. All right. Any other questions? What else is on your mind? Hello from Portugal, Anna. That is exciting. Or is it Anna? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that properly. However you prefer it to be pronounced. From Portugal. That is so exciting. That's fun. All 3 sets of our 4, like we have 4 sets of parents. And 3 of our 4 sets of parents are out of the country starting this weekend, which is just bizarro to me. How was your trip? 2 weddings in 1 weekend. Yes, Tammy, we had 2 weddings in 1 weekend. Sam's best man got married on Saturday night, both in Houston, I guess, thankfully, at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, which was a very, very cool venue. And then we had another wedding on Sunday for another good friend of Sam's. They were both, they were both super unique weddings in terms of like, the museum was just a super unique venue, and there wasn't a ton of like dancing. Like, it wasn't your typical wedding type stuff because we were all like looking at the exhibits, which was very cool. And then the wedding on Sunday started at noon. So it was very early in the day. And so it wasn't like a big party wedding. It was like a garden party is what it felt like. But we had a good time. Yeah. We survived. That is all that matters. I've never been more thankful for an extra hour of sleep. I know daylight savings is annoying, and like the sun setting at 4 p.m., depending on where you live, is very frustrating. But like Saturday night, I needed that hour of sleep. Melissa, I started reading The Lazy Genius. Thank you for the recommendation. My biggest light bulb moment was her saying that you're naming the wrong goal. I usually write big goals and give up. I cannot recommend that book more. Most of the time, I don't recommend general books. Like, when people are like, what's the best goal setting book? And I'm like, the best goal setting book is a book specific to your goals. Like, reading a book that is specific to whatever goal it is that you're working on. The Lazy Genius is the number one exception to that, because I think that her principles and the way that she writes the book, like the fact that it's not like you have to do these things or you suck or you were a failure, right? She's like, here are some ideas and how you could apply it to your life. Actually, that book could probably use a reread for me, because I think that it is so, so helpful, the way she writes and the thoughts and ideas that she has. Yeah, highly recommend. If you haven't read that book, highly, highly recommend. Also, I want to go back quickly to Tammy's question about 2 weddings. As of right now, which I know that it could change, because as of this time last year, we were missing one of them. We have 0 weddings in 2023. 0. And I made that comment to a couple at the wedding, one of the weddings we were at this past weekend, and the girl kind of gave me the eyes like, maybe it'll be us. And I'm like, if you turn a wedding around in 2023, I'm going to be really impressed. But as of this point last year, only 6 of the 7 had been scheduled. The one that we had this past Sunday was not scheduled yet. That save the date didn't come till like April or May. So it is still possible that we end up at one. But as of right now, we have no save the dates for 2023. And I could not be more thankful. Could not be more thankful. Holly, do you have your 2023 planner lineup? Elizabeth coming in right behind her with the same question. No, not yet. I'm still trying to figure some things out, still trying to nail some things down. From a daily perspective, I'm probably going to keep using the Amplify. That's working for me. I just ordered a new one because the one that I'm in, I'm on the last like 7 days. So that means by the end of next week, it'll be gone. So I ordered the burnt orange one, which I'm so excited about. If you don't know, I went to Texas, huge Longhorn fan, burnt orange. I love it. It's at the UPS store. I haven't gone to pick it up yet. It got delivered while I was gone. Their shipping is so fast. I think I ordered it either Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, and it was delivered on like Friday or Saturday. Like, the turnaround from them is so fast. So I will go pick that up. So that's probably the daily. That's about it. That's about all I've got so far. I'm going to try always fully booked. Looks like a fun book planner. Yeah, I've heard lots of other people talk. There's members of the Patreon community who use that planner. I know Cindy did a review of it. It definitely looks like a fun planner. I feel like for me, reading is, yes, I set like a goal only because Goodreads makes me pick a number, but really for me, I want reading to be more fun, and I don't want to be, but that planner does, I mean, you're doing fun things, right? You're tracking fun things. I feel like I don't want the pressure of having to like track my reading anywhere. But it does look like a fun planner. Megan, how long does your Amplify tipping typically last, considering you don't use it every day and it's undated? That's a great question. And the biggest reason why I use the undated is because I don't use it every single day. So let's literally flip back to the first day. Now, this one is going to be, so I started this one May 20th. And so it will last me probably till, what do I say? I have 7 days left. So it'll probably last me until like November 20th. That's like 6 months. That's rare. But we also did a lot of travel, right? We went to Ireland for 10 days. We went to Thailand for 2.5 weeks. Like we went to Austin for a week. Like we traveled a lot in those 6 months. So that's probably the extreme. It's probably closer to like 4 months, 4 to 5, 4.5. That it lasts me, because I rarely use it on the weekends. Like it's a rare day that I'm going to use it on the weekends. I don't always use it on Fridays. So, if we're talking, usually if we're in town, every 4 out of 7 days I'm using, I guess it makes sense that it may last me almost 6 months. Yeah, with the travel. So probably between 4 and 5. Ooh, Morgan, this is a good question. How do I let go of control and ask for help? I had surgery recently and struggling. Okay, first off, I want to send you all of the healthy vibes, and remember that our bodies are amazing if we give them the time to heal and rest. I have never been more impressed with like our body's ability to fight than when I give my body the time it needs to heal and rest. So take care of yourself, right? Rest and give your body what it needs to do what it can do to heal you from that surgery. That said, this is one of those times that it's almost, I don't want to say easier to ask for help, because depending on your personality, asking for help is always going to be difficult, but you have a reason, right? You have a reason to ask for help. So what I would recommend is think about what is the least overwhelming for you to ask for help. Like, is it letting go of the cleaning? Is it letting go of the cooking? Is it letting go? And who are we asking for help? Are you asking like your spouse or immediate family? If that's the case, like 100%, it is, they want to help. That's the other piece of asking for help that I always forget, is that they want to help you, right? They just usually don't know how or what to do to help you. So they want that detail. Like they want you to ask, they want you to reach out. I think also just remembering that it's temporary, right? Like you're not asking them to like clean your house for the rest of eternity. You're asking for some help while you're going through this major thing. And so it's not like you are potentially putting them out, but it's so temporary that it's not worth it. It's not worth it for you to fret over it, if that makes sense. What I feel like I struggle with is like, if somebody asks me for help, like I want to do that for them, and I forget that, right? I forget that I like when a friend is like, hey, can you help me with this? Like I feel needed, and not everybody's gonna be different, but I think especially depending on who you're asking for help is important. In terms of letting go of control, that is really the reminder that you can't do everything. Especially right now, you really can't do everything. And done is better than perfect. And so getting that done is going to be so much more important than it being done by you. It might not be done exactly the way you want, but having it done is better than it not having it done. That was a lot of disjointed thoughts. Hopefully that was helpful. If anybody else has any other thoughts on letting go of control or asking for help. And as always, when I open it up like that to say, like, if anybody has any thoughts, if you're the person who asked the question, I always recommend that you come back and check the comments in a few days, because a lot of people that watch the replay will come into the comment section and give their thoughts. So there might be some additional thoughts in a few days. Sorry, I got really thirsty there for a second. Okay. Carla, I'm late. No, you are right on time. You are totally fine drinking a pink lemonade. Yum. Love that. All right. I think I'm all caught up with comments and questions. What else is on your mind? How's everybody dealing with the time change? I feel like we just had such a whirlwind of the last few days and we were in a different time zone that like I haven't really felt the impact yet. I mean, I'm going to be honest with y'all, as a morning person, I don't hate the time change because I like it being brighter in here in the morning when I wake up as opposed to pitch black until 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. I mean, so I am probably the worst person. I know a lot of people. I don't like it. I do want to go to bed at like 8 p.m. when it gets dark at 4, but I also reap the benefits on the other side because I do get up early. I know that's not true for everybody. This time of year though was the worst when I was commuting because I would leave the office and it would be like just barely getting dark. And then I would go underground for the subway and it would get dark while I was underground. I would come out and it would be dark. And I'd be like, I just missed the last few minutes of daylight underground. Also, sorry, the lighting is all over the place today. Time change plus full moon equals, yeah, I feel that. The moon yesterday was so cool though. I've enjoyed the extra sleep, especially since I got my booster shot. Ooh, Elizabeth, I hope you're feeling okay. I feel like everybody's having different reactions with this new one. Oh my gosh, Tammy, I was up on Saturday from 2 a.m. I'm going to be honest with you before I finish reading the rest of your comment. In terms of like doing a Disney race, that whole like setting an alarm for a 2 a.m. thing really makes me not ever want to do it. I'm just saying. From 2:20 to 10:30 for race day, my sleepiness likely has nothing to do with the time change. Absolutely. Christy, I want to make sure I wasn't reading that right, and it was Kirsty. I'm a morning person and wake up before 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. naturally, but now my boys are waking up at 5 because of the time change. Yeah, I've heard people with like kids or even my mother-in-law's dog on Sunday, we were like Monday, we were trying to like sit and eat dinner, and his like bed is in the dining room, and he was like trying to go to sleep because he definitely thought it was bedtime, even though we were just sitting down to dinner because of the time change, because they don't get it. Oh, Carla, time change sucks, but I get hungry at 11 now, but lunch break isn't until noon, so I'm hangry. I can completely understand that. I feel like you got to pack a snack, right? Like, can you sneak a snack in before your break? I've been sleeping in an extra 30 minutes, so not so bad. I wake up at 5:30 instead of 5. That works. I'm glad you've been enjoying that extra sleep. River Drake, I'm going to come back to your question in 1 second. I agree about loving the morning light, but my cat doesn't realize we changed the clock. Exactly. I feel like, although because Charlie was alone except for her visits, like she probably didn't notice either because we weren't here to mess with it. This is a good suggestion for the person who asked about help. This won't help you now, but I find that if I plan who is going to help do certain things before you know you'll need help, then you don't have to think about it afterwards. It's rough, but not as rough for morning people. I mean, Tammy, I'm a morning person, but 2 a.m., that's early. That's the middle of the night. Yeah, the dog wants dinner at 4 p.m. Exactly. My dogs definitely didn't want me to sleep in on Sunday morning because it was time to eat, right? Pets and kids, they don't get the time change. Okay, I'm going to go back to River J's comment/question topic. Thoughts on being true to yourself. So I do have thoughts on this. My first thought, the first thing that comes to my head when I read this is you have to know yourself. There's no way to be true to yourself unless you know who you are. And so we all really benefit and would benefit, do and will benefit from taking the time to get to know ourselves better. There's a lot of ways you can do that. I'm not going to go into like a bazillion and one ways of like how I've gotten to know myself better, but I think that step 1 to being true to yourself is that. Step 2 is the reminder that, and this, I get this reminder a lot more as someone who shares their life on the internet, but I think that it is important for everybody to remember is that you're not going to be for everybody. There is like, you cannot possibly imagine that everybody in the world is going to like you. Like that is, even if you're a good, likable person, like there are going to be people who do not vibe with you for one reason or another. And you have to be okay with that in order to be yourself, right? That's like step 2 is like accepting that. And then you're able to actually be yourself. And then I think the last part of it, or my last thought on it, is really just um, make it like you have to find the people that allow you to be yourself, right? Like if you feel like there's a different, now I'm not to say that there's not like a slightly more professional version of you versus like the you with your friends, but like if there's I just had this conversation with a friend recently actually. If there's a version of you with one friend and you're a very different person when you're with a different friend, asking yourself like, which one of these is me being authentic? And which one of these is me conforming to be with that other person? Now, I'm not saying to stop being friends with the person that you feel like is not your authentic self, but why are you not being your authentic self with that person? Like, what is, like, just asking yourself. I think also a lot of this is like being a lot more aware to what's going on. Or for Jay, you're also always coming in with like the best, most thoughtful topics. And sometimes I have good answers and sometimes I don't. Okay, Monica, win for me, canceled your nutrition coach and already feeling the positive effects of less stress. I know that we talked about this not on the live, but in a Patreon Q&A, and I'm so proud of you for following through, and I'm so glad that you feel less stressed. It can be so hard to cancel or quit or do things, especially when we've already paid for them, but that money is gone, and the time that you're not going to be stressed now is here, and I'm so proud of you. Melanie, any pre-planning activities we could be doing to prepare for Moxie or Cultivate planning season December. So if you are a member of the Patreon community and you're joining us for those December sessions, you don't need to do any preparing. Like there's nothing you need to do. You can literally just show up on that first day and I'm going to walk you through absolutely everything you need to be walked through. That said, if you want to start doing anything, whether you are a member of Patreon or not, for now, I think it's a brainstorm. I literally started yesterday on the plane. I gave myself like just 20 minutes to like brain dump some ideas for next year. Not that I didn't already have an idea list running, but I kind of rewrote it and like added some things. And I caught myself yesterday trying to self-edit. And I'm like, this is an initial idea list. Like, and you do not need to self-edit. You do not need to be debating if that's the goal that you want to pick. We're not there yet. We are literally just brain dumping an idea of potential goals for 2023. Like get it out of your head and down on this piece of paper. It was my iPad, but you know what I mean? So I think if you are wanting to start, I would just start coming up with ideas, thinking about what you might want your year to look like. If you're not a member of Patreon and you want to start working on your goals, start working on your goals. Like there is no rule that says you have to wait till December. Like if you are ready to start the prep work, the hard part and the thing to remember is just don't lose sight of finishing out the year how you want to finish it out and whatever you want to focus on for November and December. Morgan, suggestions on winding down. I love working out in the morning, but can only do that if I get enough sleep and I struggle with going to bed at a good time. Yeah, if you struggle with sleep and going to sleep, I highly recommend the book, Why We Sleep. Like I think that book, especially at the end, he's got his like 12 rules for sleep, which I don't follow all of them, but I try to do my best to do as many of them as possible. It's that like those things are what is helpful to winding down. For me specifically, it's turning off lights, not looking at my phone. Although if I do look at my phone, I have it set to like auto yellow screen or whatever it does, like nighttime mode. I know it doesn't completely get rid of the blue light, but it does help a little bit. And I think it's whatever winding down means for you, right? Is it a bubble bath? Is it less talking with people in your household? Is it candles? Is it reading? Is it like, what does winding down look like for you? Is it turning off your brain? Is it turning off, your body? That sounds funny, but you know what I mean? So I think figuring out what works for you might take some trial and error, but I think reading that book might help give you ideas. And then I think the last thing to remember is you don't have to do it all. It's not like an all or nothing. Oh my gosh, if I don't do all these steps, I'm not going to get good sleep. And then I can't wake up in the morning and work out. I think that you figure out what works for you and implement those like a little bit at a time. And then the last thing I'll say on this is that it doesn't also have to be an all or nothing, whether you work out in the morning or you don't, right? Maybe you're like, oh, if I don't go to bed by whatever time, then I don't work out in the morning. Well, maybe you have trouble winding down, and so you go to bed 15 minutes after that. Can you just cut your workout by 15 minutes in the morning and not worry about it being an all or nothing? Oh, sorry, I like lost my spot in the scroll. I know this is a basic question, but when you have more than one important goal in mind, how do you pick one to start with? So I have a video about prioritizing goals, and I'll relink that below. And I feel like I say this every time I reference a video, but that video I probably uploaded a year ago. And when you may or may not have watched it, but if you did, when you watched it for the first time, you watched it with whatever your goals were at the time in your brain. And now, if you have different goals that you're thinking about, watching it again with your new goals in mind can be very helpful. So I will leave that link down below. At the end of the day, overthinking and worrying about which goal you're going to start with is more pressure than just getting started. And momentum is going to be way more important than starting with the best goal, if that makes sense. So sometimes I'm like, just go with your gut. Which one? And I'm not a gut intuition person at all, but sometimes I'm like, you're going to spend too much time overthinking it, and that's not going to help you get started. That's going to kill your momentum, and you're not going to do anything. So I'd rather you just pick one. That might mean you pick the easier one or the one that you're more excited about. It might be the one that's a better foundation. It might be the more timely one. There's a lot of ways you can go about it, and I talk about it more in that video. But at the end of the day, if you're really struggling to pick, flip a coin and just go with what it says. Any suggestions for sleep tracking for someone who can't use a wrist tracker? Mary, there is an app that, like, if you put your phone either next to your bed or in your bed, it does work. But that only works if there isn't another human sleeping in your bed. So I don't know your situation on that. I can't think of anything. Maybe somebody else. The Aura Ring I've heard of, but it's pricey. I've thought about getting it a lot, but it's pricey. Topic from remote plans: when tips on recognizing when action steps, goals, focus is more stress than beneficial, like your reading goal or me getting up at 2 a.m. for a race. Okay, but you getting up at 2 a.m. for a race is a one-time thing. I think it's different if it's like an ongoing thing versus like when you're going to need to really think about the benefits versus like the pros versus cons, right? And I think at the end of the day, first off, asking yourself, is this action step getting me to where I want to go? And so for Monica's example, while like if weight loss is an ultimate goal and working with a nutrition coach is helping her get there, guess what? That stress from that nutrition coach is offsetting that goal to lose weight. And probably and then some, because stress is almost worse. So it's like, what ultimately am I trying to achieve with this action step? And am I counterbalancing that by the amount of stress that it's giving me? And that's like, so for me with the reading goal, it's like, if I was really strict about hitting a reading goal and really hard on myself, then reading wouldn't be a stress relieving activity for me, right? I would do it out of achievement as opposed to out of relaxation. And I want to keep it as a mode of relaxation. Almost similar to like if I were to start taking like dance fitness classes, like as my workout and to lose weight, instead of dancing to make me happy. Like I'm going to offset that, the true meaning of what I'm going for. So if you're finding that the action step is doing more of what you don't want versus what you do want, then it's not worth it anymore. I don't know if any of that made any sense. Sorry, I see all of you responding to each other. A holiday book recommendation, A Cat Cafe Christmas. Ooh. Sorry, I had to block a troll there. Okay. Jamie, thanks for including your name. I noticed October goal, no dance. Maybe addressed this before, but something that takes up weekly time, you don't include it in weekly. Curious if you put something like an ongoing class in goals. So I think if it's for me, and everybody is going to be different. If you look at your goal list as the things that are taking up your time, then absolutely include it, right? Absolutely include it. If you look at your goal list as the things that I need to be held accountable to following through on, which is how I look at it, then that's why I don't include something like dance. Like, I'm going to do dance. Now, if you notice, my October goals list was shorter because I knew dance was going to be a big chunk of my time, but I didn't feel the need to include it in my actual goals. Does that make sense? I thought about asking for the Oura Ring for Christmas, but yeah, it's pricey. Yeah, I think I almost consider putting it on my Christmas list like every single year, and then I back out because it's pricey. Although I don't know what I'm asking for this year. I have like one thing on my idea list for myself. Leah, Full Focus now has a loose leaf version. Thinking about going back to it since moving away from Power Sheets, and now if I miss a day, I won't lose a whole week. Thoughts on loose leaf? I mean, that's how I'm using my HB90 now, is like essentially loose leaf, right? I print it out myself and hole punch it and stick it in a binder. I'm assuming that's what you mean by a loose leaf version, is that you're putting it into a binder. I think if it is something, especially that you're purchasing from them, right? You're not printing it out yourself. What I'm about to say won't apply, but one of the things that I struggle with is perfection and feeling like if I mess it up, I can just print it out again. And I do that often. Like if I mess something up, I'm like, I'm just going to print out another copy and then like redo the whole thing. And that is just like such a waste of paper and time and effort and all of the things. But if you're buying it from them, I think it could be a really great option. It's an interesting question. Are you grateful for your prior job experience, or do you never wish you worked in a corporate and instead always be an entrepreneur? No, I am 100% thankful for my prior job experience. I would not have changed the trajectory I went on in any sort of way, for a lot of reasons. But I feel like that is what was meant to be my path. And am I thankful at where I am now? 100%. But do I wish I had just become an entrepreneur right out of college? No, I needed that. I needed that experience. I needed that structure. And I needed that time to also, kind of going back to River J's question about getting to know yourself. Like, I needed that support to be able to find out things about myself, that I wouldn't have been able to do if I had just like jumped straight into being an entrepreneur. Yes, LaShawn, I always look at how things are affecting my motivation. Absolutely. I think, I'm assuming this is back related to Tammy's like topic follow-up and my answer there. I think it also, if something isn't like, it's not working, and it almost doesn't matter, but like if you can feel that it's not working, let it go. Like, life is too short for us to be trying to force things that like aren't working for us, for lack of a better word. Jessica, hello. Welcome to your first live. First live I've been able to catch. Also just joined your $10 tier Patreon and got your first Power Sheets. So excited for you. Oh my gosh. I'm so thankful that you have shared how to pronounce your name, because I've been seeing you in the Patreon Facebook group, and Donalay with an M, Monalay. That is a beautiful name. Oh my gosh. Monalay. Okay. Thank you. First off, what was the last planner you reviewed? Do you mean the last planner that you saw that I reviewed, or the last planner that I actually reviewed? Because I actually am not sure I can answer either of those questions accurately. I don't remember what video it was that went up last. I think maybe it was the Inkwell Press one. And then the last one that I reviewed, but it's not up yet, I did 5 last week in one video. And then I'm about to do one later today after this live is over, with 3 more that I have in my possession. That's going to go up as a bonus video because I just can't wait. November's done. Everything for November is filmed. So like, we're just going to do a bonus video. Okay. I think I'm all caught up with questions. Oops. The last planner I reviewed was the black one that I had for a while. That's right, Amanda. She knows because she edited it. She knows the last one I reviewed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think it was the Inkwell Press. Was the last one that actually went live. So many planners, y'all. So many planners and so little time. There's a playlist also. I created a playlist. That's 2023 goal planners. Like on my YouTube channel, there's a playlist. Obviously, like some of them are intertwined in the vlogs, but like anytime there's a vlog or a video with a planner review, it's in that playlist. So there's a lot of options, a lot of choices. I have a lot of feelings. Nicole, are you doing a review on the Moxie Life? Yeah, as soon as I get it. My order hasn't shipped yet. So TBD on that. I just heard Charlie meow. She isn't like mad at me today for locking her out because she wants to be next to me. Well, she is Velcro Kitty today, which I understand. I wasn't here, so she missed me. She wants to be next to me, and but I locked her out of the live because otherwise she won't just sit here in my lap. If she would just sit here in my lap for an hour, I would let her stay, but she does not. So I locked her out. She's not happy. Laura, trying to retire after 30 years of self-employment, recent Chinese cookie fortune, ask yourself what you want to do, then do what you have to do. I love that quote, fortune statement, whatever we want to call it. That is so cool. What do you have to do to get to where you want to do? Get to what you want to do. That's a really good mindset. I don't know if you're asking a question here or you just want to share it with us. If you did, I'm thankful that you shared it with us. And sending you all the good vibes on figuring out your retirement. And 30 years of self-employment. That's amazing and impressive. I'm about to hit 1 next week, which is crazy. That's also crazy to me. Actually, I don't even remember exactly what day it was. I should probably look at a calendar. Holly, do you have any good gift ideas that for hard to shop people? Off the top of my head, no, but I did do a video years ago on this. I hope or think that it could still be helpful, but I don't know that for sure. I don't have anything off the top of my head though. How do Chicago apartments compare with New York apartments? That's a fun question. So they are much bigger, much bigger than New York apartments. At least, from the apartments that I've seen, from my parents and my siblings and the apartments that I've seen, they're all much bigger than Chicago. Right now, the prices are still a little bit higher than we wanted to or were expecting to pay. So we are probably not looking, our rent is probably not going to change all that much, but we're going to get a lot more for our money when we get there. But the other big thing is there are a lot of things in New York that either New York apartments don't come with, or they are a luxury. Like we have a dishwasher and we're very thankful for that. But that's not the norm here in New York. Central AC is also not even close to the norm. I've never had an apartment in New York with central AC. Dishwashers, I'm 2 for 3. Laundry and unit, I'm 1 for 3. Like there's a lot of those things that in Chicago are like a given for the most part. I know someone's going to come at me and say it's not 100%. I know it's not 100%, but in New York, it's like way a low percent for those things. In Chicago, it's a much higher percentage. So really excited. Do you have tips for anyone who has a planner YouTube channel? So I have done videos with YouTube tips in general. I also have a playlist for that. That is like any video I've done about YouTube with tips, Q&A, like any kind of YouTube related videos. And I think any of those videos can be extrapolated to be about a planner channel or not. I know Cindy has done a video specifically on this topic. If you haven't watched that or you don't follow Cindy, that I will also link below after the live is over. That's like specifically about having a planner YouTube channel. I think my tip I always give with any YouTube channel is just to try. Just try and just start posting and see what you like and see what happens. River J, I appreciate this very, very much. I will go get, like, whenever my 1 year, I will definitely go do something fun for sure. Amanda, tips for any YouTube channel, just start. As somebody who just started her like third or fourth new YouTube channel. Right, Amanda? Are you moving before or after the holidays? After. Our lease is up March 1st. So we're going to move sometime towards the end of February. Topic, cleaning routines. What do you do daily, weekly, monthly? I wish it was consistent because it's not. I'm laughing because this was a goal for this year and it didn't happen. Actually, y'all, I'm pretty sure this was a goal for last year when we moved into this apartment. Anyways, daily is mostly just a tidy. My office, for sure. The rest of the apartment, if I have the energy, and then Sam does the dishes. Weekly, it really depends on what else we have going on. Most of the time, I am the person that crash cleans before somebody's coming over. So, like, I'm trying to think, like, when the last time we had someone over was, and, like, that was the last time I, like, crash cleaned the whole apartment. I usually vacuum at least once a week, just because Charlie's hair is everywhere and it's just my hair is everywhere, and vacuuming just makes it feel much cleaner, just like having the floors be cleaned. But I'm not consistent about any of it right now, and I'm not worrying about it. Like, I'm just not. That's like the cleaning routine is something I am going to figure out after we move. Lots of questions about we're moving in February, end of February. I need to start figuring that out. Actually, if anybody has, I'm going to ask this on Instagram too. If anybody has any recommendations for cross-country moving companies, like I have New York City moving companies I've used and liked, but not like from state to state. I am here for any recommendations that you have. We're not moving most of our furniture. In fact, pretty much none of our furniture is coming with us. Because none of it is nice enough to like justify the price of moving it. Like we just buy something new when we get there that fits that space better. Really, it's the Peloton and then the new TV Sam bought when we moved into this apartment. I think that's it in terms of furniture. Otherwise, it's just our stuff. So we don't, like, we still need obviously some kind of moving truck to move all of our boxes, but it's not going to be near as intense, I think, as when we moved from the last apartment we were in to this apartment. That was a lot of stuff. That was a lot of stuff. Christy, do you have any tips for helping someone with goal setting? My best friend wants me to help her with making goals and be her accountability partner. Christy, I love that. I love for you to like having somebody like in like your real life. Not that we are not in real life when we chat here, y'all, but you know what I mean. To set goals with and like be an accountability partner with. So always, like, I would point her. I have that very first like intro to goal setting, like step 1 with goals video. I would maybe point her to that and like say, like, watch this first and then let's talk. My biggest tip if somebody is starting out is pick one goal. Like don't try to do everything. Don't overwhelm. Just like start with one goal. Keep it simple to start. And then they can always do more. That's so fun. I have some of my like real life friends who always say they're going to like start setting goals with me. And then they don't. Looking at you, if any of you are watching this. Anything else that you guys need? I think I'm all caught up on questions, comments. I'm very stuffed up today. It was just something in the year when I got back to New York. My nose is all stuffy. Also, it was 89 degrees yesterday in Houston, and it's like winter in New York today. It's Not quite, but it's pretty cold. So that was the end of that. It was nice while it lasted. Now it's cold again. And I feel like such a liar because I have a friend visiting here this week, and she asked me last week what kind of jacket she should bring. And I was like, oh, I like haven't even broken out my real fall jacket. I've just been wearing like a sweatshirt or a sweater. Lies. Mary, do you meal plan based on what you want to eat for the week? What might be on sale or another method? That's a great question. We actually talked a lot about meal planning in another live. It's definitely in the thumbnail if you like look at some of the recent ones if you didn't get to watch that replay. And what I always say with meal planning is there are really like 3 facets or whatever to meal planning, and it's really hard to get all of them not get all of them. What is the word I'm trying to get here? Sorry, my nose is ridiculously itchy. It's really hard to get like the best to hit all of them in every meal. And that is least expensive, like watching costs. It is amount of time in the kitchen. And then it is like health levels. Like, are you trying to hit certain amount of, any kind of nutrients, etc. And while there are magical recipes that hit all 3, most of the time you've got to pick the one that is your most important and prioritize that. And so for me, it's the least amount of time in the kitchen. Like I want to spend the least amount of time in the kitchen. Now I hit the cost one a little bit by solely shopping at Trader Joe's. And then I try to do my best with the nutrients by always making sure there's a vegetable incorporated in every meal that we cook for dinner, that I cook for dinner. But that's kind of how I prioritize it. And then I plan for the week based on what else we have going on, right? Like, do I have a busy day? Like tomorrow I have a lot of things going on and I want to so I've planned a crock pot meal, right? Tonight I wanted something that was easy, but like comforting that we liked. So I did like a recipe that I've cooked a million times that we both love. Like that's kind of how I plan for the week. Nicole, not sure how to word this, but do you have a process to close out one year and prepare for goals for the following year? And not really a process. It was really just like my goal setting system. Like just going through the power sheets prep work for the next year. But this year I am trying to set one up, trying to figure that out. Aki, I appreciate you sharing I would have assumed that, but I appreciate you sharing the phonetic pronunciation in the chat. Tips for getting books that you really don't want to read, but have to. Luckily I am at a point where I don't have that. Like if I don't want to read something, I don't have to. And so I quit. I have become a book quitter. If you have to, I would reward yourself with something. I would bribe myself. I go to the coffee shop to read this book, or once I finish this book, I get to buy a fun book that I'm excited about or something like that. And then I would break it up also into smaller chunks. Like I wouldn't try to power through like an hour of it at a time. I would break it up into smaller chunks. And as Amanda said, set up a reward system based on how much you get done. Treadmill recommendations. Morgan, I am not a walker/runner. And if I am in the littlest bit, I would always want it to be outside. So I have no idea. I don't have any. If somebody else has a treadmill recommendation that they want to share, go for it. Are you picking up Matthew Perry's new book? I've heard such mixed reviews. Honestly, Ariel, I didn't know he had a book. Also, like biography/celebrity written books are not my favorite. Like I have not super enjoyed them. I did read the Matthew McConaughey book this year because everybody raved about it and it was good. Like I think everybody else was way more excited about it than I was, with the exception of Michelle Obama's book that I absolutely devoured and loved. I've never really been super into those kinds of books. So probably not. Mackenzie, thinking of 2023 goals, any ideas on how I would break down developing better, healthier eating habits? Yeah, absolutely. So, I have a whole video on breaking down general goals and then a separate video on health goals. Y'all, I feel like I've referenced like 10 videos in this live. I apologize. As with anything, you start small, right? So with healthier eating habits, you can either start with one meal right? I'm going to start making swaps at one meal. Like for me, one of the things I did was stop putting sugar in my coffee, right? That's a small little thing I can do to be slightly healthier from an drinking standpoint. You could start to track things, right? Whether you're going to track macros or calories or whatever it is. And then again, small steps. There's somebody in the Patreon community that I was texting with who wants to get back into Weight Watchers. She's like, I know it works for me and I want to get back into doing it. And I was like, okay, first off, that's fine. Like, awesome. I'm happy you know something that works for you. And she was like, I want you to help hold me accountable to tracking. And I was like, awesome. Two things that we're going to start with though, when it comes to tracking. Number one, we're starting with just tracking. We're not aiming to hit a number. I want you to just start by tracking and get into the habit of tracking. Number two, we're starting with just one meal. This week, she's just tracking dinner. That's it. And so I'm checking in with her every day, making sure that she tracked dinner and not worrying about what the numbers are, but just getting into the habit of tracking dinner. Then we'll layer on tracking another meal until she's tracking everything. Then we can start talking about how can she tweak things to hit a certain number, right? I think that's one of the struggles sometimes is that we think it has to be all or nothing, especially something like Weight Watchers, right? To go from not tracking any of your food to tracking absolutely everything and trying to stay within a certain number is nearly impossible. So just those are kind of my initial thoughts. But if you want to send me a DM, I'm also happy to keep chatting with you about that. Yes, I will be doing Vlogmas again this year. I can't believe we're like almost there. Look away, Amanda. Wendy, topics with consistency. I struggle doing anything consistently. I get hyper focused on projects and super motivated. However, it's an uphill battle to do anything consistently day to day. The first thing is that consistency doesn't mean every day. That's the first reminder. Consistency doesn't mean that it looks the exact same every day. And so if you are expecting things to look the exact same every day, you're never going to be consistent. Sorry if that sounded really harsh. That for me, that's what I had to learn, is that consistency doesn't mean exactly the same every single day. And consistency means that you are making progress on it. And that might look like 5 minutes one day and 50 minutes the next day. It might look like 2 days a week instead of 7, right? But trying not to force things into every single day and thinking that that is going to be the solution, because most things we can't do every single day. And the more that you force it, the more likely you are to give up on it. Heather, I appreciate you including your name. What's the best motivational self-help book you've read? We talked about it earlier, The Lazy Genius. Yeah. Morgan, do you set a yearly budget or stick month to month? We are more of a month to month. I map out the whole year and then I like set an overarching goal. Like this year, there was like an overarching savings goal based on like the projection for the year. But really, I just worry about it month to month. Small changes add up. One swap a month worked for you. Yeah, I love that. Struggling not to think about 2023. Any tips on how to keep the focus on the remaining weeks of this year? So I think that there's no way that you're not going to think about 2023. I mean, it's November. Like, we are going to start. Let yourself start a running idea list for 2023 goals. And then set less goals for November and December so that you're not feeling like it's an overwhelmed, I can't do all of these things without not thinking about the new year. Pick what's important to you to finish throughout this year. And you can do both at the same time. Like, you can start thinking about the new year while still finishing out the year. Focus on something that you want to focus on. But really starting a running goal idea list for the new year is the best place to start. LaShawn, great question. What's the biggest difference between your highest Patreon tier and one-on-one coaching service? The price differential is very significant, because the highest Patreon tier, you get access to the texting. So you get a daily text from me that's either a quote, a picture, a reminder, a question, a tip, something goal related, a text every single day. Then you can text me whenever you want with questions and I will respond, and we can go back and forth. We can break things down and give you a pep talk, whatever you need. And then we can also schedule specific check-in texts based on your goals. That's the $30 a month Patreon tier. The one-on-one service is a 8-week coaching program. So it's 30-minute coaching calls for 8 weeks where we go through a whole basically curriculum, if you will, there's 8 different topics that we go through for those 8 weeks. There's a handout for every single week, and I'm going to go through that handout and I'm going to teach you basically over those 8 weeks every single thing that I know about achieving goals. And it's Zoom calls. And somebody asked me that recently. They were like, "Do you coach in person?" And I was like, "No," because I started during like 2020 when we were all doing Zoom anyway. Anyways, and then at the same time, I'm going to have you pick one specific goal that you're going to focus on during that one-on-one time together. And every single week, we're going to talk about that goal, pick action steps for the upcoming week, and hold you accountable. The texting comes as part of the one-on-one. It's kind of like a bonus add-on, and it just makes it easier for us to communicate when we're scheduling calls, etc. But the premise of the one-on-one coaching is those eight calls for 8 weeks, powering through and getting you started on a goal that's important to you. I say getting started because most goals you're not going to finish in 8 weeks. That said, I have had people, depending on the goal they've picked, finish it in 8 weeks. But for a lot of people, we're just getting started on that goal, but I'm holding you accountable and you're kicking off that goal with a lot of momentum and making a lot of progress in 8 weeks so that you keep going. As well as I'm going to teach you everything that I know about goal setting that you can then apply to any future goal that you have. So hopefully that was helpful. Always feel free to come into my DMs if you have any additional questions about either of those things. All right, y'all, we are almost out of time. And I just there were so many great questions there at the end that I got super distracted. So let me ask you my last question for you, which is, what is one thing that you're going to do this week to make progress on your goals? It doesn't have to be huge. For me, I already have my answer ready to go. I forgot that I hadn't signed up, but I'm planning to participate in the December daily prep day on Saturday. I was waiting to see what time the football game was at, and it is a night game. Sorry if you're not K-State. We just beat you this weekend. If you are a TCU fan, hopefully we're going to beat your undefeated streak this weekend. Game is a night game. So, but during the day, I'm going to attend the prep day for December daily. All right. Let us know if you're here live and you're still here with us. Let us know in the chat what you're going to be, what is the one thing you're going to do this week to make progress on your goals? And then if you are watching the replay, I want you to let us know down in the comments. What is one thing you're going to do? Listen to the boring book and then reward yourself. Yeah, actually, if you can listen to it and then do something else that you really like doing at the same time, if you can, like coloring or some kind of craft or something. Make an appointment to sign trust documents. Ooh, that's a big step. December daily prep day. Yay. I don't know how late I'm going to participate, but I'll definitely be there in the morning and we'll use the time to organize all my stuff. Applying for your MSN in nursing education. Holly, congrats. That's amazing. That is amazing. Drinking your 1 30-ounce cup of water at work Monday through Friday. I love that. I love everything about that. That is a great, great first step. Small step. Watch yours and Cindy's YouTube videos on YouTube. Okay, I'm glad that you also haven't watched hers yet because that's a great one. I'll make sure to link it because hers is specific to planner channels. Just signed up for your Patreon. Welcome, Melanie. So excited to have you. Drink more water. I love that. Prep your office space for filming. So much filming. YouTube. Start packing for your Thanksgiving week Disney cruise. Oh my gosh, Jessica, I'm incredibly jealous. Walk to our condo's gym. The goal is to step into the gym, not necessarily to work out, creating consistency. I love that, Mackenzie. That's it. It's a small step. That's all it takes. One small step, and they add up over time, and you can add to them and layer on over time. All right. If you have anything else that you need, always feel free to come ask me in my DMs. Otherwise, if you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up before you head out, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're new here, click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thanks for hanging